Sneaky people are really interesting individuals because they honestly believe that they can continue to keep you in this state of believing them for a very long time. When a sneaky person is in my presence, I feel like any and everything I say is put under a scope, right? Because the number one goal for a sneaky individual is to gain dominance. They want to gain this edge over you. And in order to gain dominance and an edge over you, they've got to listen to everything you're saying. And once they figure out who you are, or they think they know who you are, then they start with the manipulation. And that's where you see it. It's a scary reality. Nobody wants to deal with a sneaky person, right? Common behaviors that we think are common behaviors and normal behaviors, sneaky people use and exaggerate. An example of this would be forgetfulness. I don't remember that. When did you say that? Who is that again? Why would you say that? I don't remember having a conversation with you about this. Sneaky people use forgetfulness, right? It's very casual sometimes. It is very difficult for people to press the script, right? Or push the boundary a little bit, or push that person to talk if they're forgetful, right? There's also helpfulness. I'm going to help you. I'm going to do this for you, that for you, that for you. I'm going to buy some flowers for you to cheer you up. I'm going to send you a thank you card to help you, to make you feel appreciated. I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to call you on the phone and keep you company all night. Those are wonderful things when they're done without expecting something in return. But a sneaky person expects something in return. Helpfulness can be seen as sneaky and conniving. Flattery. That's also another thing that somebody can use against you. If I just keep flattering you and flattering you, you're going to believe that I'm a really good person, and you're going to open that door for me, and I'm going to step right on through. Obliviousness. I don't know what you're talking about. Since when? When did that happen? Who did that? When did I say that? I don't remember saying that, right? It's a mind game. It's a mind game. Sneaky and cunning behavior is scheming and calculating people, sometimes secretly cooperating with people to manipulate others and situations to their advantage. They may experience what we call a cheater's high. When a person cheats, they lie, they deceive, they do what they want to do behind your back, and then they act like nothing ever happened. Sometimes endorphins kick in, right? Because there's edginess to this, right? I'm doing something secretively. I'm doing something I know I shouldn't be doing, and I got away with it, which is cheating. And so now I have a cheater's high, and I feel really good.
If I just arrange these in the order, I can remember them. Professor Danny won't know. I don't know this material. I know I'm wrong. I feel guilty.
People who have a cheater's high may also attempt to cheat in other areas. I'm going to cheat in my marriage, cheat in my relationship. I'm going to cheat in the family dynamic, because it's almost like an addiction. It's an addiction to getting over on people. And nobody wants to be involved with a person like that. I remember in my own personal life dealing with a cheater and a deceiver, and it was a really tiring experience. He seemed to be a really good family friend, and my family appreciated him. My mom, my grandmother, we all believed that he was a healthy individual who was going forward in life and wanted to go forward in life. And I saw him as a sibling. I really saw him as a person that I could trust and talk to, somebody that was rooting for me as I started out in my education many years ago. And sadly, after a couple of months of getting to know him, I started to realize some things that made me uncomfortable. And the first thing that I noticed was a sneaky, scheming, conning type of disposition. It was written all over him. Everything that he would say, some things that he would do, things that he would watch and gravitate to, it all showed me that he was sneaky. He liked getting over on people. And he liked the whole idea of deception. He was really just a big glob of mess, if you will. But he put on that mask really good. He stepped into that Halloween suit, if you will. And he looked the part until we recognized what exactly was going on here. Once you realize that you have been manipulated and deceived, and you have had somebody sneakily play games with you, it is like a kick to the heart, because now you have to reorganize your thoughts about who they are. You also have to turn the mirror to yourself and ask yourself, who am I? Research in psychology also suggests that sneaky, cunning behavior, or even conning behavior, entails this scheming and calculating individual who sometimes secretly cooperates with other people to manipulate other people in situations to their advantage. Most cunning behavior, sneaking behavior, is correlated to Machiavellianism. It is correlated to psychopathy, and it is also correlated to narcissism. And when you put those three things together, what do you have? The dark triad. And if you look at Machiavellianism, these are individuals who love to do things out of a sadistic kind of a desire in mind. And they find being sneaky and cunning and conning people as a strength, because they can make you trust them because you can't see them. In essence, you are spiritually, psychologically blind. They're going to go against them, and that's okay, because then they'll have gotten out of you what they wanted to get out of you. Or you're going to find them out and they'll just move on to the next person. In their mind, there is no loss for them. Because their whole purpose in communicating with you, right? Acting forgetful, flattering you, being very helpful, doing things that, most people can see, and then they act oblivious. All of those things oftentimes kind of goes over our head. We're really not looking at what's happening. And so family members who engage in these kind of behaviors, they can continue to get closer to you and closer to destroy you, because they know you're not looking at them, right? They're not the clear, obvious devil in your life. Location advantage. Now, location advantage is really goal-directed behavior. The sneaky and cunning individual will often move you far from the people that you are used to being around. They will also far remove you from the individuals that make up your family, that make you feel safe, that make you feel courageous, that make you feel like you can overcome things, hardships, right? And what happens in this dynamic is the sneaky conning person, they will remove you from where you feel safe and understood, so that they can then control and take over. And when they put you in a new environment, it is easier for them to make you feel like a victim. And most of the time, you're not going to say anything, right? Most of the time, you're going to go along to get along. And that is how they gain the upper hand over you. Consider a situation where you are involved in a domestically violent relationship. Why would the abuser who is the initiator of all the violence within a relationship, why would they want you to be close to your family where you feel safe? Why would they want you to be in a city where you are familiar with things? Because what's going to happen is you're going to listen to other people, you're going to feel a little bit stronger, you're going to be able to navigate things a little bit better, and you're not going to feel like you're way out in the wilderness without a vehicle or any kind of lights and service, right? But if they move you to an environment where you are feeling very vulnerable and insecure, that's why we call it a location advantage, then they know that they're going to gain the upper hand. So they can manipulate, they can lie, they can cheat, they can steal from you, they can abuse you, they can change your mind, they can develop a traumatic bond with you, because you are in an unfamiliar place where you are relying 100% upon them. I had a client like this a couple years ago. She found herself in the middle of nowhere in New Jersey, where there was no lights, there was no running water. It was kind of like an off the grid kind of a living lifestyle. And her boyfriend loved it. Why? Because the police couldn't find him. Family members couldn't find him. She didn't know what markings to give the police when she had to call them to come rescue her. It was just in the middle of nowhere. And so his, power and control was found in a location advantage. He knew where to take her, and she didn't know how to get out.
I knew if I let her visit her family, she would start thinking like them, thinking that I am the problem. If she would just listen to me, this wouldn't happen.
There's often an imbalance, of power. There's an imbalance of power with these individuals. They want the upper hand and you're going to be down here. Why? Because they can work their magic and get what they want to get when you are beneath them. So one thing that I love is a quote from Mary Tyler Moore. And she says that sometimes, here it is on the screen, sometimes you have to know someone really well to realize that you are strangers. And I love that, because if you get closer to that person and you allow them into your world a little bit closer, you may start to recognize that this is a broken person. This is a person who is dangerous. This is a person who has no empathy. This is a person who's very self-consumed. This is a person who is a psychopath. This is a person who is cold and callous, right? You can kind of line things up a little bit better the more you get to know them. So one piece of the puzzle here is that individuals who play games, they are sneaky and they are cunning. They don't want you to get to know them. So they kind of keep up this shallow defense mechanism so that you can't get in and understand exactly who they are. If you feel like this is something you're dealing with within your family or within a relationship, you definitely want to keep on watching. Let's jump into this. What is wrong with them? What are some of the challenges? Ready? Dominance and submission dynamic. A lot of people who are cunning, malicious, controlling, sneaky, they somehow create over time a dynamic where there's dominance and submission. They are the dominant ones, you are the submissive one. And that game can continue on and on and on for as long as you allow it. The thing is boundary violations and boundary crossings. Sometimes boundaries are not clearly understood. And the kinder you are, the more open you are, the more honest and authentic you are, some people believe that they know you, right? And some people also believe that they have the right to get into your life or get into your world and know certain things. And I've been like that as a therapist. There have been times where, I have personal situations going on in my life, or I have a professional situation going on, and a client will ask me a question, will pray for me, will send me a card, will bring me a little small gift of appreciation. And then once that happens, they feel that the doors have been open for them to get to know me at a personal level. And the reality is we as professionals, we have professional boundaries that doesn't allow certain people to get to know us and doesn't allow certain people to step into our world just because they feel like they know us. If we're talking about sneaky, conniving, and gaming individuals, they know that in order to get to you, in order to get what they want, they have to get to know, they have to in some way get to know you, right? And if they don't know you, then they know what to do to get to know you, whether that's email you constantly, DM you on social media, show up at your place of business or somehow go to the same location. And it can sometimes have like a little bit of a stalker feel to it, and when you start to feel that, that's when you want to say, nope, you're getting too close. You're losing your boundaries. You're not being very respectful at this point. You're taking things way too far. And so a boundary violation is, I know that I can't cross this line, but I'm going to try to see how close I can get to that line. And then if I get close to the line, I'm going to see if I could step over that line a little bit, even though I know that this is uncharted territory. I'm not supposed to be doing this. A boundary violation is, I'm going to step over that line and I'm going to do what I want to do, and you're going to have to deal with it. It is going to require you to step in and say, no, you're doing the wrong thing. You don't belong here. Harmful intent. Some sneaky, conniving people have harmful intent and they try to get close to you so they can use it, right? I want to get close to you so I can see how much money you make. I want to get close to you because I'm going to ask you some personal things. I want to act like I'm this wonderful, loving, nice person, and I want to get close to you so that maybe you will loan me money. They engage in deceptive strategies. You know how you sit down every month and you financially plan? Let me go to this bank account, that bank account, and that bank account. And I need to write down the cash balance of each bank account. And then I need to write down the debt that I owe. Then I need to write down what I've spent and why and where. And so some people who are conniving and sneaky, they do that kind of strategic thinking and balancing on people. We do it for finances. They do it on people. Denying and rationalizing. That's another sneaky behavior. I'm going to act like it didn't happen. I'm going to rationalize this until I can't rationalize this anymore. Yes, I killed him. The reason I killed him is because he abused me for so many years. I had no other way to get out of the relationship. I knew that he would follow me. I knew that he would take over my life. So I decided to kill him. It was an easier thing to do rather than to just walk away and get the help from the community and from the system, because I knew he was going to eventually find me. Withholding of affection, stonewalling, refusing to be clear, refusing to converse in a way that's mature. All of that is sneaky and conniving behavior. It's manipulative, to say the least. Social ambiguity, not really knowing where they stand. Everything is kind of nebulous and cloudy and confusing, and it's hard for you to pinpoint certain things. It's hard for you to identify certain things. And some people get a kick out of this, so much so that they feel like it's a game. I know you know that sometimes sarcastic joking or just kidding kind of jokes can also be a form of sneaky manipulation. I'm going to tell you what I think. I'm going to share this with you. I'm going to minimize you. I'm going to degrade you. And then I'm going to put on that just kidding, or I'm going to be sarcastic in my joking. Or I'm going to use social media and indirectly call you a bunch of names, indirectly utilize bits and pieces of our personal situation. Maybe you guys are clashing, and they take to social media and they find articles and posts that they feel will speak to you, and they post it online. Let me also say that there's some ideas behind sneaky conning and cunning behavior. One would be sovereign citizens. Here's a description right here on the screen. Quote unquote, sovereign citizens are individuals who get together in a community. They are anti-government individuals who share a common belief system. I don't need a driver's license kind of mentality. So I'm going to tell you that I wasn't driving. I was passing through. And so it's wordplay. It's control. See if they can get out of being pulled over by the police. To see if they can get out of, having to sit at a red light with everybody else. Another theory is gang stalking. Some individuals use gang stalking to manipulate, right? I'm just going to say that I'm being stalked. I'm going to say that people are following me. I'm going to say that I couldn't sleep last night and I couldn't go to work the other day because I'm being gang stalked. I'm going to act like I am delusional and I'm hallucinating. And I'm going to say that gang stalking is something that's happening to me. Another thing is traumatic experience. I have trauma. Don't say that. I'm being triggered. I know you've seen that before. Religious thought and beliefs. That can be sneaky, conniving, and manipulative. I'm just going to say that if you don't do A, B, and C, God's going to punish you. Right? If you don't buy me that BMW that I've been praying for, God is going to punish you. He is going to get back at you. He's going to rectify this whole thing. But I'm highly attached to your sister, and I don't know why. I think it's Stockholm Syndrome. It's my traumatic childhood. It's because of the way my mother treated me growing up. I remember one time, one of my male clients I had in the past, he was working in a local small plant. And one thing he said to me is right before the plant blew up, he said the day before, I felt like I wasn't capable of doing what I did. I felt I wasn't capable, and I truly hoped that the plant would be okay. And when I saw it on the news, I knew that I had something to do with it blowing up. And he brought a lawsuit against his boss, which was a husband and wife duo of the small plant. And he blamed the whole explosion on them, that he was too insecure and not very confident in his position, and yet they hired him. So these are different ways that people try to use wordplay. They try to move around politics. They try to move your emotions. They try to have some kind of imprint on your mind so they can get to what they want to get to. So what's the impact here? Well, if you're dealing with sneaky, conniving, and cunning people, it's important to understand that trust issues are likely to come of this. You're going to be in a situation where you may not know what's going on, right? You can't make heads or tails of, what this person has said to you. You're going to have this erosion of trust over time with these particular individuals. There's also going to be a distorted self-image or perception of reality. They see reality through these certain colored glasses, and it really thwarts the reality. And so because maybe you're close to this person, you marry them, or you're a family member, or you work with them, you know, they can kind of pull you in, and you want to believe them because of that close association, but it's really hard to believe them because, you know, something's not adding up, right? The other thing is learned behavior. I hate to say this, but if you have a parent that's been like this, you may also start seeing learned behaviors come out, right? Maybe you've picked up that behavior or that behavior, and you find yourself automatically doing that behavior, and you know that it is now taking you over. That's more likely than we think it is, or we want to believe it is. You may suffer from personalization and generalization. Generalization says, this has happened, and I'm going to say that it's going to happen in all situations. Right? Personalization. This has happened and it has happened to me. This has happened and I know it's going to continue to happen to me. So you're personalizing things and you're generalizing things. It's a terrible place to be in. The other thing is traumatic bonding and emotional drain. Both of these things drain you of your energy, of your brain power, of your mental stamina. Compromise values. Who wants to be around sneaky, conniving individuals? The more you're around those people, the more you realize they don't have a conscience, right? So your values can become compromised. You can become desensitized to things that should offend you. The other thing is paranoid personality or paranoid schizophrenia. You may find that these kind of individuals can really create this tornado in your life that throws you off course, and it can trigger a paranoid personality. Maybe you have a paranoid personality because you grew up with a parent who was very sneaky and conniving, and they weave this reality together and weave that lie in, and then they weave that misinterpretation in, and then, you know, and so by the time you get to adult age, you've got this big glob of you know, yarn that has a variety of different color, shapes, and sizes, because that's the way your parent has weaved together reality for you. It can really cause paranoid personality within you. Also, too, not knowing boundaries can happen. When you are growing up with somebody like this, or you're in a relationship with somebody like this, over time your boundaries can become very minimal. And so you don't know what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. And you may find yourself fighting to understand where you belong versus where another person belongs. So your boundaries can certainly be way off. YouTube wants you to check out this video right here. I encourage you to check that out. It may make this video make a lot more sense. I look forward to seeing you on Friday and Saturday. Come join me. I'm going to do a live video, or a live chat, I should say, on this very topic. So I hope to see you then. Bye-bye.